Hi, and welcome to the wildcard edition of the I-Formation. I'm Jeff Gibbons.
And I'm John Moist.
I hope everybody enjoyed their holiday season and lots of friends, family, and all the good things that go with that. And of course, I hope you remember not to drink and drive, which is very important to all of us. Here we are, end of the regular season, and certainly that brings us to the first week of the playoffs, which of course inevitably is the wildcard spots. And a lot of interesting things happened towards the end. I almost got my wish in the AFC. It was down to a quarter, but we'll see. We're going to talk about the 4 games this week, and of course, true to form, Johnny Football and I are going to vary on all 4 of these playoff picks this week for the wild card. So stick around. We'll tell you what we thought.
Hi, welcome back to the I-Formation. Now we're going to make our picks for the wild card week of the NFL playoffs. First game, Saturday evening, Arizona at Carolina. Carolina sneaking in there, and I'm not sure they had a sub 500 record, and they get a home game in the first round of the playoffs. A lot of people don't like that, but
only 2 teams have ever done it. The New Orleans Saints did it. I think it was the last time it happened. Yeah, no, that wasn't the Saints. It was I can't remember who it was.
Baltimore, maybe.
Maybe it was Baltimore. Actually, it was Baltimore. It was Baltimore. Yeah, so it's only happened twice. We won't panic yet. I think some of those teams in that division are better than the record showed this year. I think it was just one of them times where everything went south in the South.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't think that those records will be indicative of the same next year. So
no.
Hopefully it all works out. Anyway, it is what it is. Carolina has a home game. Tell us what you think.
I think that Carolina's on a 4-game winning streak, and that's all great. They're peaking at the right time. Cam Newton is playing at the top of his game at the right time. However, I think that Arizona, they had an 11-5 record this year, and I think that their defense is just not going to sit down and let Carolina walk over them. I think they play a strong game defensively, and I'm going to pick Arizona to beat Carolina in Carolina by a field goal. I'm going with the Cards.
Okay. You might have had a great season, but this is where I'm going to shine. And I'm going to tell you the difference here. Ryan Lindley, we can't have this conversation without talking about Ryan Lindley. He's like their 5th string quarterback. Arizona's done really well to get where they have. And in all fairness, Ryan Lindley finally threw a touchdown pass his last outing, but he did throw 2 interceptions as well. The only thing that keeps this close is the Arizona defense. And you're right. They have been stellar all year, but their Achilles heel all year has been scoring points offensively. And even now with the with the advent of Lindley coming in there, don't see that to be getting any better. I'm picking Carolina with their 4-game winning streak and Cam Newton putting it all together. I'm picking them to beat the Arizona Cardinals at home by 10 points.
Okay.
Big difference.
Yes.
See how it goes. I'm looking forward. We're going to go see those games. Actually, we've got a party to attend on the wild card Saturday, so we'll be looking forward to that. Yeah. Next, we got Baltimore going into Pittsburgh, and here's the rematch. 2 teams from the same division. We've been watching this Le'Veon Bell thing. He got hurt in the last game with that helmet or that shoulder to the knee. And an MRI as recently as the last day or so did not reveal any ligament damage, but he is in considerable pain. And for him to play Saturday night, he is going to be in a lot of pain. But Ben Roethlisberger went on the record saying, he said, if there's any way that he can be there, he's going to be there. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's not such a good thing. He's definitely the independent variable for me in this whole game. I'm not sure that Pittsburgh is really convinced that he is going to be all that in a bag of chips for him, because they just, today, Ben Tate, as we go to film here, it's Tuesday, Ben Tate, who was just released for the Vikings late last week, went and met with Pittsburgh. Still haven't had word. I looked in online, was talking, looking around the blogs, still haven't word as if they've signed him or not. So it's literally at the 11th hour. If things went well, I think Adam Schefter said online that looks like they're going to sign. So to me, this is Baltimore's game to steal without Le'Veon Bell. That is definitely, they're definitely in this. And I think that they go in and they win this by 3 points in Pittsburgh. This is going to be a great smash mouth, in-your-face football game.
Yes, and Le'Veon Bell is certainly a big loss there. I don't expect him to play in this game. He got a hyperextended knee. Usually takes 2 to 3 weeks to get over these type of injuries. That being said, Pittsburgh's offensive line has been better this year than it has been in years. Ben Roethlisberger tied Drew Brees with 4,952 yards passing this year. Number 1 in the NFL. Antonio Brown was the number 1 receiver in the NFL this year, and Le'Veon Bell was a big part of it too. But with that offensive line, a lot of running backs can get behind there and run for some yardage. You might see a surprise running back show up in this one. I'm going to look at Roethlisberger to go to the air in this one, and I think that the Steelers win by a touchdown at home.
I see where you're coming from, but I don't agree with that statement about anyone in the backfield. You put me out there, we're not going to run for 100 yards. And here's the other thing.
But you're not an NFL running back.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, well, okay, well, neither was Cedric Benson, apparently. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to establish the run in order to get that ball out to Antonio Brown. And that is going to be the issue. It's going to be the same issue with the Dallas Cowboys we're going to talk about in a few minutes. You know, Roethlisberger played really well this year and put a lot of points on the board because he had that running back that was getting the job done. Tony Romo totally changed the way he played ball in December because of the leading running back in the NFL. When you establish a run like that, all the doors open. Not taking it away from him. Yes, he only threw 1 interception in December. But at the end of the day, if you don't establish the run, and this is a fundamental. But anyway, I think this is going to be close, and I think that Baltimore, Bell is the question. He is, it is where it is. I don't think you put Ben Tate or anybody else in there. I don't think that Baltimore defense will swarm. And I think that they make a game of this and they beat them late.
Roethlisberger for 300 yards.
Roethlisberger for 300 yards. What? Run for 300 yards? Or
he's going to pass for 300 yards.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's not forget about Joe Flacco. Okay. Yeah. Moving on to the other 2 games. Now we've got Cincinnati going into Indianapolis. This is a tough road game for the Bengals. And the Bengals have been hot. They've been cold. And you want to talk about cold? They lost in Indianapolis earlier this season, 27-0. Albeit Jeremy Hill only had 4 touches in that game, and he has come a long way since that to help with the Bengals' run game. So that's going to make a big difference in how that game plays out. But at the end of the day, the only way they win this game is if they keep Andrew Luck off the field, and they're going to have to manage that clock. And I don't think that they can manage that clock for a full 60 minutes. And that's why they're not going to win this game, and I think that Indianapolis wins this at home by a touchdown.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to pick the upset here. I'm going to go with the Bengals. I really don't have any reason why I'm picking this. It's just a gut feeling. Well, I'm catching up. It's just a gut feeling that Cincinnati is going to go into Indianapolis and play at the top of their game. I see a huge game from Jeremy Hill in this one. He might be the best running back this week, in my opinion. And I think that since he's pass rush and their defensive core, it's just a little bit better than the Colts. And I think that the Bengals squeak this one out by a field goal.
And I just think Indianapolis is going to beat it because it's the Bengals. Sorry for all you Bengals fans. Finally, we have Detroit going into Dallas. And, you know, the Dallas Cowboys had a perfect road record this year. Won all games on the road. But you know what? They lost half of their games at home.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that certainly would be a thing to think about if you're a Dallas Cowboy. They played incredible ball through all of December, which is unlike most Dallas teams of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
This boils down to, again, Detroit's defense stopping the run or limiting the run. When we talk about DeMarco Murray and people like Marshawn Lynch, we don't talk about stopping the run. We talk about minimizing the run because Murray is going to run the ball. I mean, he started the season with 8 straight 100-yard games, which was a record from the beginning of the season, I think. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you don't stop him. You don't stuff him for 20 yards in a game. I mean, if you do, it's just an incredible outing. And you know what? When you establish the run like Murray establishes the run, this is why Tony Romo has excelled. And I said this sort of earlier here. He excels now because he can get the ball to people like Des Bryant. He stretches the field. So you know what? He's not making those poor passes all the time, those poor percentage passes that Romo was famous for in his career, and the turnovers that happen late in the game because he's forcing the ball into the eye of a needle. So you know what? Good on him. And they finally got that kind of offense that's really starting to roll here in December and now into January. But I think the other thing now is Ndamukong Suh. He's, he's been suspended for that ankle walk on Aaron Rodgers, which was totally classless. And for anyone to say that that wasn't intentional, I'm sorry, I'm going on record, and I'd say it to his face too, and that's pretty scary. That was intentional.
For sure.
He walked backwards. When you walk back onto something, and I said this to a guy the other day because I almost drove a nail in my foot there a few months ago at a buddy's house, and I remember he was doing some work. And when I walked back on the nail, the first thing I did was bring my foot up. I didn't put all my weight on that foot and walk on, to drive the nail further in. And when you look at the film, it was just poor. I mean, it's not the first time this guy's done this. I'm also going to go on record and say something about that too now, because I got to get my soapbox going here. You know what? Not to minimize any of the other things that have gone on in the NFL this year with domestic violence, but this is another type of violence. And when the NFL gets their act together, they should really, really look at all of this terror violence with the same brush. It's not good in any way, shape, or form. And you really got to look at an escalating penalty for that as well. Because I'm sorry, when you kick someone in the face, when you walk on somebody's ankle intentionally, and the league has taken it upon themselves to suspend this person, so they're agreeing that this was done intentionally. You do this a second time, you know what? The penalty should be stiffer, right up to and including maybe indefinite suspension, because there's no place in the game for that kind of lack of sportsmanship. Sorry, just had to say that. But Ndamukong Suh is a huge part of that defense as well. So not being there and being there makes a big difference to that Detroit defense. He's appealing, and it's gone to appeal. He's got a shot at winning that appeal. I mean, it's not easy to win an appeal, but the possibility exists, so that could make a difference. Detroit is going to have to be on top of their defensive game, and they're going to have to stop that run or minimize that run. And they're going to also have to bring their offensive game that we've seen half the time this year. Sometimes you see people like Stafford and Megatron, and they're wallowing in mediocrity, and they're arguably one of the best quarterback-receiver combinations in the entire NFL. So if they come with their big game and Calvin Johnson lights it up, I think Detroit beats Dallas at home by a touchdown.
Well, we're definitely going to agree on this one, because I don't disagree on this one, because I don't think Matthew Stafford is as good a quarterback as Tony Romo this year. Romo's got an over 100 pass rating this year. He's had a great season. And then we'll talk about Dallas's offensive line. Yes, Detroit has a great defense. Dallas's offensive line can handle them. And I also think that you got, even if they stuff Murray, they got to put up with Des Bryant. They got to put up with Jason Witten. A lot of weapons there. I really think that Stafford's going to throw a couple of picks in this one. I see Dallas winning this one by 2 touchdowns.
It's all about stopping the run, because the plays to Witten, the plays to Bryant aren't as accessible, and Romo has done it for years. If he gets the running game out of Murray, they win this game handily. If they don't, if they're able to slow this guy down, I'm telling you, it's going to be the Tony Romo old. That's when we're going to see the poorly thrown balls. That's when we're going to see the interceptions. We'll see. I've been wrong before. But you know what? You've been lucky all this year, and this is another reason why I'm wearing this 13 this year, which is the unlucky number most times, but it also stands for a lot of things. This is the coolest Christmas gift ever, I gotta say. Anyway, stick around. We're going to give you our player and team of the week.
Hi, welcome back to the I Formation. Now we're going to make our picks for team of the week and player of the week for Wildcard Weekend.
Okay. Well, I guess we're both going to differ this week, seeing we're picking all 4 different teams. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens this week, and also running back Justin Forsett. Who are you picking?
I'm going to pick the opposite team. I'm going to pick Pittsburgh Steelers and a big game out of Antonio Brown.
Downtown Antonio Brown. Well, there you have it, folks. So we're totally diametrically opposed this week in our picks. Well, that's our picks for Wildcard Week. Make sure you tune into the games and enjoy. And if you're out and about, please don't drink and drive. Respect the game. So, we also want to wish you a Happy New Year here from all of us here at the I-Formation. A happy and prosperous New Year. And we'll be back for next week once we'll bring the Wildcard winners in with the top seeds in both divisions. So, that's everything for me. Do you have anything to say?
Thanks for watching. And, you know, Jeff started the show putting a bottle of water on his head, so I thought it'd end the same way.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess that is good night for me.
That's good night from him. Have fun.